Hint, hint.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening's meeting. We have two items on the agenda. The first is to just quickly review the council's strategic priorities, outcomes from the two retreats held earlier this year, and then, of course, the presentation of the budget for fiscal year 22-23. Mike? So there are three strategic priorities. The first has to do with public safety. The second, to renovate and expand the infrastructure for the rec center, as well as the Par 3, and then the proactive measures to preserve and protect our beach. Mike, thank you. So with each priority, when you have a chance to look through these, there is a vision statement. For public safety and accessibility, it includes an outreach program, traffic safety study of high traffic areas. When you come down Oak Island Drive, you'll see a lighted sign for tracking speed that we're happy to see. Councilman Martin is working with Brunswick County on greenway projects. And then, of course, disaster plans are the town's disaster plans for preparedness, response, and recovery. Next. Second is has to do with infrastructure, and that consists of a survey for determining needs that will inform an architect's and engineers' plans for renovating the existing rec center, as well as building an addition. And then, of course, focuses on the Par 3 and the brochure revision, Oak Island, A Time to Coast, which needs to be updated. And then the third strategic priority is to preserve and protect our beach. The key components of this, of course, is to which is now finished, is phase 1 and phase 2 of the FEMA projects. Develop a funding solution for the state's $20 million. We can check that box as well. A comprehensive program to protect and preserve the beach and its dunes. So hopefully you've seen the announcement this week for the beach service unit. Again, another great accomplishment by Mr. Kelly and Chief Morris. Then we have the phase 3 nourishment, as well as developing a long-range plan for preservation, maintenance, and management of our coastlines. So just wanting to get those read into the meeting minutes this evening and see if council has any comments or wants to take action.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would note for the record that the strategic priorities were established in the original retreat and have been approved in the minutes, so this is really a formality. And the other thing I would observe before we move to approve these formally a second time, if you will, I do like very much my colleague, Councilman Martin's suggestion that next year we continue to have 2 retreat days, but one would be exclusively dedicated to the budget, or at least to the strategic theory of the budget. What are we trying to accomplish? What are the priorities, et cetera? What are the drivers and cost? I think that will lend a more efficient way to approach the year. So with those comments, I will make the motion to approve the strategic priorities as outlined in the document.
I'll second that motion with a comment. My comment would be that I'm very happy that collaboratively we all worked together on this year's budget that does reflect, if you go back and read through our retreat goals, you'll find many items in this year's upcoming budget that we will be voting on in June are reflected based out of the retreat and the work that we did there. So I'm just very happy and thankful that we collaboratively came together and looked at goals from the retreat and built those into this year's budget. So thank you for that.
All in favor? Unanimous? Thank you very much. And I echo both Councilman Bach and Martin's comments. A good many of the things in the strategic priorities have already, are well on their way to being accomplished and are represented in the budget. So we appreciate council's leadership in that regard. And with that, I turn the podium over to you, Mr. Kelly and Mr. Hatton, for the budget.
The Davids.
Thank you. First of all, Councilman Blaylock called earlier, he said he wasn't feeling well, wasn't going to be able to attend tonight, but we told him we'd get him all the information that we go over this evening. Me and Mr. Hatton will sort of share the podium and go over a few things on the presentation of the budget, and we'll go ahead and get started. Management staff has met with each department head twice, once for preliminary budgetary needs and a final meeting to bring forth recommendations for the council's approval. Council and staff has had 6 budgetary workshops, got to meet y'all, and y'all got to look at us, and we got to work with each department head for approximately 13 hours to get this accomplished. Request along with an overview of all capital and staffing needs. At the last workshop, staff reviewed all departments and went over recommended fee changes, staffing levels, 3-year capital improvement plans, and the ARP funding. This year, the fee schedule will be adopted in June as well, but it'll be out of the budgetary process or the budget itself, so we can go in periodically during the year and review the fees and make adjustments to those as we see fit. We had discussed some solid waste items, we had discussed stormwater, so we'll be looking at those going forward. Ad valorem tax revenues, the budgeted tax rate remains at 0.28. Of the 0.28, 0.23 is designated for the town's general operations. Everybody always wants to know what 1 penny generates. 1 penny generates about $349,000. That's about $9,000 increase from last year's penny, is what we have seen so far. As previously stated during our sand financing workshops, the collection of the 5 cents is accounted for in the Beach Nourishment Fund 47. And this is established for beach management projects. The general fund, town's general fund balances continues to remain strong as a result of effective physical restraint from the town management. The town's general fund balance is greater than the 25% mandated by the North Carolina Local Government Commission, and our current number sits at about 52.67 or somewhere right around there percent. So our fund balance is strong. Capital reserve funds, The town is again budgeting to transfer funds from numerous departments to the capital reserve fund to provide funding for future capital expenditures in the amount of $276,275 for the general fund and $466,391 for the enterprise funds. Now, Mr. Hatton.
Thank you. Fire district fees. The town is increasing fire fees for the fiscal year 2022-23 by 20%. And that's to offset the additional cost of emergency services provided to the town of Oak Island citizens. And this also reduces the amount utilized from the ad valorem tax revenues that Mr. Kelly just spoke about. Right now, the total budget for the fire department is $3,253,000. And out of that funding, the general fund or tax dollars, it generates $909,748. And the fire fees with the increase generate $2,344,063. And for an example, a single family residence under 2,000 square foot on the island would see a $30 annual increase. Water fund and wastewater. As you may recall, last year, Brunswick County put in a rate increase on their wholesale water. And so we did half of that increase last year, and now we're going to implement the remaining phase 2 of the volumetric fee change. So as an example, a customer using 4,000 gallons of water have an increase from 32.88 to 33.36, or a 48-cent increase, and that's after July 1st, 2022. The wastewater rates will stay the same, as well as the sewer district fee. We will not change that this year. It's going to remain at 60178. Stormwater, we are going to up the stormwater fee. We'll see an increase for this residential customer, from $5.63 to $7.04 a month, or a $1.41 increase. Solid waste, which we've talked about, we'll see an increase ranging from 5% to 10%, and that's for the collection of household refuge, recycling, yard debris, and the town's convenience sites. Customers will see an increase from either 0.52 or 0.57 cents per month. Accommodations tax, something we've talked about over and over. You can see what we're estimating for 22-23. The 3% part of the tax will be $2,500,000. And as you know, well know, we use this for tourist-related activities, as well as we budget some to go to the Beach Nourishment Fund. The majority of it goes to beach nourishment. Beach Tax Fund, which is the 2% of the accommodation tax, we're budgeting that this year at $1.5 million. And of course, we're going to be doing maintenance expenses, but anything left over will go to the Beach Nourishment Fund or the Fund 47. Beach Nourishment Fund is next. And of course, this is utilized as a capital project fund to account for all the beach management activities we have on the beach. Projects included last year was Hurricane Matthew and Florence, which were FEMA supplemented projects, as well as the annual maintenance on Lockwood Folly, which is approximately $100,000. The shoreline management plan, we have for 24-25, we have received, as you well know, $20 million. And council and staff have reviewed financial options to fund the town's portion of this project. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Kettle.
Thank you, sir. So I get to go over the capital outlay plan. We have a 3-year plan that we start to look at every department. We see what the needs are for the 3 years, and then every year we add into it to keep this plan moving. General fund this year, there'll be 3 used fire trucks are to be financed, 1 new quick response vehicle for the fire department, and the fire trucks, of course, would have gone to the fire department as well. 5 new Durango police vehicles, 7 new pickup trucks within various departments, and that's all 6 different branches of Public Works. And also development services and planning, so that's where all those trucks went to. And 1 new large dump truck. Enterprise funds, 3 pickup trucks for various departments there, 1 in stormwater, solid waste, and I can't remember where the other one was. I think it was in water. 1 mini excavator for stormwater, and then the new leaf and grapple truck. We talked about that at the last meeting. The grapple truck that we had some damage to the body of it, and they're evaluating that, so we may put off the leaf truck this year and buy the grapple truck to replace, or the leaf truck, but we'll keep you posted on that, and to let each one of you know what we're doing for that situation. Additional staffing. So we have the Economic Development Coordinator for admin, the Community Resource Officer back into the Police Department, 2 full-time patrol officers for the Police Department. They'll be working a swing shift or a dedicated shift to overlap. 3 fire equipment operators, EMT paramedics. They'll be responding in the QRV vehicle that we were purchasing on the other side. Permit Specialist 2 and Zoning Tech 2. As you know, we've separated the duties of Development Services into 2 departments to help try to define that department and make a little bit better service for our public. Maintenance Worker 1 for Public Works Operations to be able to maintain the town facilities. Enterprise Fund, you have a utility maintenance worker in the water and utility maintenance worker in sewer. Both of those are due to the increase of services, connections, maintenance, and everything that gets involved with the water and sewer department. Stormwater, we're looking at adding a 2nd crew, heavy equipment operator, and an equipment operator.
Debt service. The utility debt will be paid off in the fiscal years 2035, 2036. And what we owe on that wastewater system at this point, as you can see, is $68,708,000. Fire trucks will be financed over the 3-year period, which we've reached out for financing on that, as we've discussed. And of course, finance options for the rec center, be it bonds or loans. It appears that loan may be the most economical way for us to go at this point.
Employee wages, salaries, and benefits. The town provides a level of pay to the employees that town management feels is fair and equitable. In comparison to the other similar-sized towns, we saw many a town doing different things this year within their COLAs, markets, adjustments, bonuses, you name it, they've rolled it out there this year to try to see what they can do and to make sure they retain and be able to bring in new staff. The town is part of the North Carolina State Employees Health Insurance Plan, which helps to control unanticipated large increases in medical insurance expenses. The recommended budget includes a market adjustment, a supplement check. The reason why we were doing it in 2 phases is we did not want to put the burden all onto the taxpayers and to carry that through to the next budget and so on going down the line. For all current full-time staff, the effective merit is 2.7% increase. As we discussed, we're going to be looking at rolling out a new merit program this year as well. And then we also talked about evaluating the benefits of staff and going forward and into next year's for the budget cycle to be able to review all these items as well going through that process. And the town has a matching 5% for the 401k. A salary adjustment was developed and implemented in this year's pay grade schedule. Basically, it's the same thing that you saw with the county. What the county had done, they had done one for law enforcement and one for general population. So we have sort of copied that, and what they have done, we have sort of matched them, or they matched what we are doing already. So I believe we still have the margin we need to be able to bring in staff going forward.
Capital projects, street paving's $300,000. That's pretty much what we budget based on what we think we'll get from PAL bill this upcoming year. Commercial quarter sidewalks, what's been discussed, phase 2 of that is $275,000. Resurfacing the tennis and pickleball courts, and that is estimated at $150,000. Rec center facility improvements, $150,000. Of course, that's not to build a new rec center, that's to get started towards a new center. And in phase 2, the Southeast 9th and 20th Street crossovers, we've got a bid, not a bid, but an estimate quote on that at $515,000.
And with that, our closing remarks. We would like to thank all of the department heads for their continued effort to produce a valued service at a low cost to our citizens. Mayor and council, we appreciate the contributions that each of you have put in during this process. We have reviewed the needs and cost for the continued growth to provide for the services that our town requires. And thanks again to all for their hard work through this budget cycle to bring forward a balanced budget which reflects the town's plans for the future. And Rose, thank you for keeping all the paperwork flowing to make sure that all the little books that they have in front of them is as accurate as me and Hatton could make it. And tonight you can go ahead and take those books home with you. The personnel items have already been taken out, so that is the draft until it's approved. We will also, and Mike gave this to me, so let me go one more slide. This is where they'll be able to find the budget online. We should have everything posted if everything goes smoothly in the morning and getting it loaded up tomorrow by end of close or business day tomorrow. And that's it.
Thank you for your report. I also want to echo your remarks in terms of thanking staff and the council for all of your hard work. There's a lot that we've been able to get done in this budget and maintain the tax rate, and that credit goes to both Mr. Kelly's leadership, Mr. Hatton, your hard work as well, and to each of the council members for all of your efforts. So the public hearing for the budget is scheduled for June 14th at the Town Hall. Do we need any action for a public hearing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, excellent. So we'll take comments, and then hopefully we'll be able to vote to accept the budget, and that will allow us to meet our July 1 or June 30 deadline, and it'll go into effect July 1.
Yes, ma'am.
So again, thank you very much. Great work. I'm very excited about the budget.
I'd like to go on the record saying, bravo, wow. We caught up in cars, trucks, personnel, and pay rates, and we stay within our parameters. So you guys are miracle workers, but that's very impressive. Then I wrote down $1.41 for stormwater, 52 cents for solid waste, and 48 cents for water, and $30 for fire fee. That is the extent of any increase at all.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hatton had a little thing written down on his piece of paper. Would you like to tell him, Mr. Hatton? Sure. He forgot to tell you that part, Bill. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, with the items that you just mentioned, Mr. Kraft, it would be less than $5 a month. All those 4 small increases that we spoke about, or less than $60, $59.50.
Tremendous, yeah,
Absolutely outstanding.
tremendous. I'm beyond ecstatic that even be a little part of it. Wow, I feel very proud.
Well, there's a lot of credit to go around, and that's, as Councilman Martin mentioned, the way it should be. A lot of people have invested a considerable amount of time, and I think since this is budget number 5 for me, the administration was faced with more questions, asked for more detail and reports, and managed to comply in a timely fashion, and that helped inform the budget process. I would say this, I'm looking forward to building what I call the theory of the budget next year. We kind of moved into it, but I'd like us to consciously do this. And, you know, this budget has a theory: public service, public safety, expanded amenities, preservation of our natural environment, particularly the beach, planning for growth, anticipating the capacity that we're going to need to have 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So there were a lot of coherent things in here that we managed to put together, and I think it's a very good budget, and I want to thank my colleagues for their work and their efforts on behalf of the town, and the staff, of course. Lisa?
You done?
I'm done. Kudos to our staff and of course, council.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mr. Martin?
Oh, I said what I needed to say at the motion about the goals, but yeah, just really happy to have this first opportunity to participate and work with everybody. I really enjoyed people listening and then giving constructive feedback during this process. I thought that was a great communication tool that we used. We disagreed on some things, and we agreed on a lot of things, and in the end, I think we're delivering the services and value to Oak Island that is greatly needed this time around, whilst holding the tax rate. So that was, again, hats off to everybody for making that happen.
Disagreement?
That's why we keep you two at a distance.
So, with no other comment, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Excellent. We are adjourned.
Thank you very much, though. Wow. So
Thank you all.
impressive.